Attention all ships, attention all ships. This is Sepah Navy, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy. From now on, all navigating through the Strait of Hormuz is forbidden. No ship in every type is not allowed to pass from the Strait of Hormuz till next notice. This is Sepah Navy, out.
What's up, guys? Today's video will be a little bit different, and we'll be talking about the current situation in Iran, more specifically the Strait of Hormuz, so we get a better understanding of what's happening in the world and why this will matter for our stocks. So if we look at this map, we see that in February there were a lot of red dots which showed oil tankers moving through the Strait of Hormuz just a few days ago. Thousands of ships constantly flowing through one of the most important energy corridors on Earth. And if you look at this, just a couple of days later, the traffic has slowed down dramatically. Some tankers have stopped, some others have rerouted completely. And the reason for this is because Iran made a warning broadcast across the waters. Attention all ships, attention all vessels. This is the Iranian Islamic Revolution Guard Navy. From now on, navigating through these waters is forbidden. No ships are allowed to pass. So this message was transmitted to the vessels attempting to move through the Strait of Hormuz on February 28th. It came only hours after the joint strikes of United States and Israel targeting Iran. And in response, Tehran turned to one of their most powerful geopolitical tools it has, threatening to shut down the Strait of Hormuz. Within hours, shipping traffic slowed down, tankers began dropping their anchors, and others turned around and searched for alternate routes. Markets reacted instantly. Oil traders began fearing a global supply shock that could possibly send crude prices soaring. But why does this narrow stretch of water matter so much to the global economy? So the Strait of Hormuz connects the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Sea. On a map, it doesn't look particularly impressive. At the narrowest point, the entire strait is only about 33 kilometers wide, but the shipping lanes inside the strait are even smaller, just a few kilometers across in each direction. And yet, through this incredibly tight corridor, an enormous portion of the world's energy is supplied every single day. Around 20 million barrels of oil pass through this passage. That's nearly 20% of the global supply. Oil from countries like Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Iraq, and Iran all move through this route before reaching global markets. And most of that oil doesn't even go to the United States. More than 80% of it goes to Asia, so China, India, Japan, and South Korea. Together, these countries account for nearly 3/4 of the oil moving through the Strait of Hormuz. So, which means any disruption here sends immediate shockwaves through global energy markets. Now, why do oil prices react immediately? Even before the formal blockade, the risk alone can cause chaos. Ships passing through the region face serious threats, missile strikes, naval mines, signal jamming, detention by military forces, and rapidly rising insurance costs. Analysts estimate that activity in the strait has already dropped sharply. More than 150 oil and LNG tankers have either stopped, rerouted, or are waiting for the situation to stabilize, as we've already seen in the picture before. And markets are already pricing in several possible scenarios. A limited escalation could push oil prices $5 to $10 higher. Direct damage to Iranian infrastructure could add another $10, but serious disruption inside the Strait of Hormuz could push crude prices above $90 per barrel. And if the conflict spreads across the region, oil prices could pass $100 per barrel. Now the next question is, why does the US feel this? Right now, the US is producing more oil than any country has ever produced in history. So a lot of people are asking the simple question, if America produced so much oil, why do Americans still feel these shocks at the gas pump? The answer is simple. Oil is priced on global market. Even if the United States produces its own oil, the price of crude is determined globally. When supply is disrupted anywhere in the world, prices go up everywhere. That includes the United States. So all traders use benchmark pricing systems like Brent crude, West Texas Intermediate, Dubai crude. Each benchmark represents different types of oil from different regions. Some oils are lighter and sweeter, others are heavier and contain more sulfur. For example, the United States mainly produces light sweet crude, which is great for gasoline, but many US refineries were actually designed to produce heavier crude oil. That kind is produced in places like Middle East, Venezuela, and Mexico, which means the global oil system is deeply interconnected. And when Middle Eastern oil flows become uncertain, the entire global price system reacts to this. Now, if you look at the history, we can see how bad this can get. This isn't the first time the Strait of Hormuz has faced disruptions. In the 1980s, during the Iran-Iraq war, both countries attacked oil tankers moving through the strait. This period became known as the Tanker War. Despite the attacks, oil continued to flow because the United States Navy began escorting tankers through the region. But earlier events show how serious the consequences can be. In 1979, during Iranian Revolution, followed by the Iran-Iraq War, oil infrastructure across the whole region was heavily damaged, and global oil supply dropped, and the results were dramatic. Gas prices in the United States more than doubled. Many Americans still remember the images of long lines at the gas station and drivers waiting for hours to fill their tanks. So energy shocks like that can ripple through the entire economy and country. This is why it's important to understand what is currently happening and why this place is so important. Now we ask ourselves the question, why does Iran have so much leverage? So Iran holds an enormous energy reserve. The country has the fourth largest oil reserve in the world, estimated around 150 billion barrels. It also has second largest natural gas reserves globally. But Iran's real power isn't just its resources, it's its geography. Iran's southern coastline runs directly along the Strait of Hormuz. That means the country doesn't even need to fully close the strait to create panic. Even partial disruptions can trigger massive market reactions. Historically, Iran has repeatedly threatened to close the strait, but it has never carried out a sustainable block, because shutting it down would also stop Iran's own oil support. Which means analysts believe a full closure would only happen if the regime believed its survival was at risk. Another country to watch closely, which is very interesting, is India.
India's exporters are facing a growing crisis. The ongoing war in West Asia is disrupting global shipping routes, and the impact is being felt on India's trade. According to
India is the third largest consumer of crude oil in the world, and it imports roughly 85 to 90% of its energy needs. The country consumes around 5.5 million barrels of oil every day. Nearly half of those imports pass through the Strait of Hormuz, and more than half of India's LNG shipments also depend on this route. So if shipping traffic slows down or becomes unsafe, the consequences could ripple through the entire Indian economy. Higher shipping costs, higher insurance costs, higher fuel prices, and ultimately rising inflation. So guys, the bigger picture. The Strait of Hormuz may look like a tiny stretch of water, but it carries nearly 1/5 of the world's oil supply and a huge share of Asia's energy lifeline, which means even a temporary disruption could have massive economic consequences for investors, for governments, and for consumers everywhere. Because when energy prices spike, everything becomes more expensive. Transportation, food, manufacturing, even everyday products in store. That's why the entire world is watching this narrow choke point right now, because the next few days could determine the direction of global oil prices and economic stability in 2026. So guys, if you found this breakdown useful and want more deep dives into geopolitics, markets, and the forces shaping the global economy, please subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment behind, ask me questions, let's talk about this, let's get all smarter. Subscribe, like the video, and I see you guys next time.